Rasslin Review.
Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of Retro Rasslin Review on the reboot of Retro Rasslin Review. I am your host, Troy Adams, and I will be sitting with you on our time-traveling wrestling ring, going back in time and watching the best of old school wrestling. That's what we're all about here. It's in the name, Retro Rasslin Review. Just a little bit about this show to begin with. Obviously, we're going to be covering the best of historic wrestling. I'll try to throw some humor in there, here and there. It's going to be a lot of facts, though, and I'm also going to ask for audience participation on social media. So if I get a fact wrong, or if you know more about it than I do, or if you found something in research that I didn't, please feel free to send something my way. This is a watch-along format, so you don't have to watch along. I'm going to kind of tell you what we're seeing, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about the match, the competitors, the arena, the championships, all of that while the matches are going on. We're going to cover America, Canada, Mexico, Japan. If I find some European stuff, like old World of Sports stuff from Britain, I'll cover some of that as well. I will take requests. If I can find some old WCW stuff from Australia. The original World Championship Wrestling ran by Jim Barnett back in Australia. I'll definitely make sure to hop on that as well, because I honestly have never seen it, ever. So, like I said, if you guys have any suggestions for future episodes, feel free to hit me up on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are at Retro Rasslin Pod. So, spelled just like it is in the logo. RetroRasslin, and then Pod right after. So, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, I'm on all those platforms. So, hit me up. And if you'd like to collaborate with me in the future, hit me up on social media about that as well. But to the show at hand, this is the reboot. We did exist in a previous life. It was a co-hosted show. I used to do the show with a friend of mine, Santiago. He was a big fan of Mexican luchador wrestling. That's what he grew up on. It was mostly AAA, but a little bit of CMLL. He lived in Texas. I'm in Ohio. And I wanted to learn more about the territories, as did he. We both loved old school Japanese wrestling, so it seemed like a perfect fit to do this show. It was a little different with Santiago. The reason that we stopped, and we just stopped doing the show altogether, was he actually passed away last April. So, April 2020, he passed away in his sleep. And it is a very, very unfortunate situation. That's why I halted the show for a while, and I really didn't feel good about restarting it without him, with anybody else. And then finally, I just decided, real recently, I said, you know what, I'm going to try it by myself and see how it goes. But now that I gave you all the preamble, and I plugged all the social media and all that, it is time to get into our matches at hand. Yes, I said matches, because we are covering two matches from Superstar Billy Graham in Madison Square Garden. Both of these matches, by the way, I am watching on YouTube. You will find the links down in the description of the podcast, so feel free to click on them and follow along. And we are going to be starting this first video at all zeros after this quick break.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Main Event Marks is a retro pro wrestling podcast hosted by two lifelong wrestling marks and walking wrestling encyclopedias, Troy and Greg. Every Wednesday, we do a breakdown and review from a fan's perspective on some of wrestling's biggest and most forgotten shows ever, along with the industry news from that time period, taking you back in history to when that event took place. Main Event Marks is available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Follow us on social media at @mainevent_marks.
Now, back to our program.
All right, we're back from break, and that means we are going to dive into our first video. Our first match here is Superstar Billy Graham versus Bruno Sammartino, and it says 1975 MSG. We'll talk about that more when we get into the match at hand, but if everybody is at 000 for the video and you want to watch along, that is where I'm starting. I'm going to count down from 3 to 2 to 1, and I'm going to say play. When I say play, everybody hit the play button, so we're on track together.
3, 2, 1, play.
This video was on the WWE 24/7 Classics on Demand. If people don't remember, it was before the WWE Network. It was like an actual on-demand channel that you had to pay for on your cable. And like I said, this says Madison Square Garden from October 13th, 1975. The problem with that is I've looked around and Superstar Billy Graham didn't even debut in what was the WWWF until later in October 1975 in a tag team match. So there's no record that this match existed. He wasn't even in the WWWF at this time, Superstar Billy Graham, that is. So I'm a little confused. And I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a few, but you see Billy Graham looking only the way he can look. Those massive friggin' arms there, just jacked to the gills. But he's wearing like an animal skin hat, for those that aren't watching along. It's like an animal skin puffy hat and an animal skin vest. Looks like he took it right off of a tiger. Kind of looks like if Kraven from Spider-Man was a lot more flamboyant. And he's got the yellow tights with like black splotches where he tie-dyed it. And you want to talk about flamboyance, look at the frickin' Grand Wizard, his manager. I think he was always his manager in the WWWF. He's got a 4-colored turban, big old sunglasses, leopard print, blazer, silver tie, is just goofy looking. And then you've got the man, Bruno Sammartino. He's just, he was the definition of thick boy back in the day, and not like overweight thick. He was just like, he was a big, thick, muscular man. And he's got the old, like, dark red strapped, smaller world title they used back in the day. Incredibly hairy back. And he's got Arnold Skaaland in his corner, which, I'm learning things as I go back and check this, these videos out. I didn't know Arnold Skaaland was in his corner first. And there's Billy Graham ripping up signs, being the ever-hated heel. But anyway, Arnold Skaaland, I remember in the corner of Bob Backlund for many years. So that one kind of shocks me. Like I said, I did not know. I wasn't aware he was in Bruno Sammartino's corner ever. So, yeah, learning things as I go along here. Superstar just hamming it up for the crowd as they make the opening announcements. Vince McMahon is on the call, by the way. By himself, he was the original Joey Styles here. But I do believe that they were in Madison Square Garden. I believe that. That's not what I'm questioning about this. But this date, first of all, like I mentioned, October 13th, 1975, Superstar Billy Graham didn't even debut for the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, as it was known back then, until October 25th. of 1975 in a tag team match at the Boston Garden, in which he and Spiros Arion defeated Bruno Sammartino and Dominic DeNucci in tag team action. Dominic DeNucci, some of you may know as the trainer of Mick Foley, and Shane Douglas, a few others. He trained quite a few people, actually, and he was an agent in the WWF for many years after he retired from in-ring action.
Over the left shoulder. Now down over the right, and there you...
Superstar just, continuing to ham it up. Look at those biceps, my God. As Vince McMahon may say, God dang it, just look at him. He's got the Grand Wizard combing his blonde hair. The blonde hair that he would, lose in, maybe 5 years, something like that. He'd just give up and shave his head and grow a Fu Manchu. Actually, I think he had a full goatee, but either way. Hamming up, the opening bell still has not sounded. I find it funny, by the way, back in the day, you look at that referee, he's wearing a gray button-up shirt, tucked into his gray slacks, got a belt on. He does not look like a referee. He just looks like a guy. If you are an avid toy collector like myself, you might be, you could do this match right here. Oh, begging off. But you could do this match right here with Mattel figures. I have a Bruno. I do not have the new Superstar Billy Graham. I'm working on it. I haven't seen it yet. It came out too recently. I haven't bought it yet, and I don't order them as soon as they pop up online. But yeah, what's funny is you see I always think of Bruno as just like larger than life, and he is like very thick, like I mentioned, and muscular, but Superstar is almost towering over him here. If you look, Superstar Billy Graham was 6'4", so it looks like Bruno's about 6'1", 6'2". I might be exaggerating a little bit with the towering over him, but his legs look longer, and he looks more elongated. He's got like a Hulk Hogan style body, whereas the only person I can think of off the top of my head, and he was obviously much smaller, but Bruno, his body type reminds me of like a Taz.
Superstar showing everybody.
But if you look, what I was going back to about the card here, which it just confuses me, is they did have a show. They did run a show in Madison Square Garden on this date, and the competitors were in the main event. It was Bruno Sammartino, and he was defending the world's heavyweight title, but he took on Ivan Koloff, and it ended in a draw in just shy of 22 minutes. So Dominic DeNucci battled Baron Mikel Cicluna, I think is how you pronounce it. And there were a few other matches on here. Gorilla Monsoon, Haystacks, Calhoun, Ivan Putski were on a team. They defeated Bugsy McGraw and the Blackjacks, Blackjack Lanza and Blackjack Mulligan. So yeah, that all took place on this date in Madison Square Garden. This match did not. So, and I can't find anywhere on the internet, anywhere, that tells when this match actually took place. So, and I've looked at various other battles they've had in 76, 77, and it was not this. So maybe somebody out there can pinpoint exactly when and where this happened. I do believe it was Madison Square Garden. It just, I don't know. It was not on this date, I'll say that. Maybe it took place later in November or December, but definitely not October 13th, because like I said, Billy Graham wasn't even in the company at this time. Look at these two big bulls just working a hammerlock here. Billy Graham's trying to battle out of it. He's about the only guy on the roster that, Bruno will let go, match him with strength. Because if Bruno didn't want you to be able to match his strength, he wouldn't let you. I mean, like I said, he's a very thick, strong man. Can kind of do whatever he wants with you. And Billy Graham pulling the hair, stomping the face, stomping the chest. Just a stereotypical old school heel, good stuff, and working and now he's got the hammerlock. And the ref, I always like when the ref asks, Did you pull his hair? No, not me. As if he's going to rat himself out. He's like, you know what, ref? I did. Go ahead and disqualify me. But then you got the stereotypical Superman babyface. Yeah, Bruno was the man, like I said. He's getting the crowd into it, getting back to his feet, fighting through the hammerlock. And here's Superstar yet again. He's like, I still got the advantage. I'm pulling you down. They're getting some mileage out of this one, man. This hammerlock spot's been going on for about 2 minutes. Bruno's just hairy like a freaking bear. You look at his legs, his arms. I mean, he is Italian to the bone. I know a thing or two about that. I'm 1/4 Scottish, 1/4 Italian. So yeah, I've got very hairy relatives. I'll just say. And so they're working that hammerlock, man. Billy Graham takes him down, and he's fighting through. He's trying to fight through. By God, look at him. I wish I could tell you a little bit more about this event. However, like I said, I really don't. I can't find where the event is. These two, like I said, they have met multiple times for the world title. The WWWF was more of a babyface territory. They never really had a big time heel champion. I mean, Bruno held the title for a long time, and there's a body slam. Body slam!
Superstar
Bruno broke it finally with a big body slam, and Billy Graham almost flops right out the ring. And he's telling the crowd off. You see the little old ladies telling him off. You so-and-so. Man.
Superstar to lock up.
But Bruno Sammartino held that world title for years and years and years. Before him was Buddy Rogers, who was the first champion, but he honestly didn't hold on to it for that long. He was more of a transitional champion to get the world championship into the WWF from the NWA. And I'll talk about that more on a future episode about Buddy Rogers. As far as Superstar, I wanted to talk about, I mean, obviously we know that he's been a big inspiration for people like Hulk Hogan, Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner. Before them was even, Jesse the Body Ventura. He said he wanted to be Billy Graham's kayfabe brother or son, or I think he said brother. Billy Graham told about that story. He said he was flattered. He's an award-winning bodybuilder, and he was a training partner and close friend with Arnold Schwarzenegger, believe it or not. So, Superstar Billy Graham and the Terminator.
Another count.
So now they're working the test of strength with Bruno on the mat, Billy Graham on top of him, Bruno fighting to keep his shoulders up off the mat.
Billy Graham pours on the pressure, pours on the strength.
And now they're back up. They're both on their knees, battling it out. Like I said, this is just a battle of the two big bulls. Billy Graham is he's used some underhanded tactics here, but for the most part, he's been outpowering Bruno Sammartino, who was known as the big strong bull of the Worldwide Wrestling Federation up until this point, and he still is. He's the big babyface, but Superstar is the direction they're going in with the big heel, and Bruno's really putting him over here. And Bruno's back on his knees as Billy Graham towers over him. And, you know, you talk about Billy Graham, I mean, obviously, if we're going to go with flamboyant characters in wrestling and whatnot, you got to go back to Gorgeous George, which I promise I will talk about him on a future episode. The original Gorgeous George, not, you know, for the 90s kids, not the blonde woman that followed around Macho Man Randy Savage in the later days of WCW. Bruno's back on top, by the way. And there's the underhanded tactic. He punched Bruno right in the gut to break the test of strength right when it was about to fail him. Looks like he's got a 4-9. He's got his tape. He's got tape. He's choking him. The referee is, hey, get off him, Graham. Get off him. You're choking him, right? And he's like, no. I'm not choking him. I got a sleeper hold on him here. Perfectly legal. Hiding the foreign object beneath my massive arm. And the ref actually instructed him, hey, put your arm in this position, otherwise it's choke, and I'm going to have to disqualify you. And here he goes, get behind the referee's back, tighten the tape up. There we go. Choking him out. Choking out the big Italian.
Questioning Superstar about the joke.
But what I was about to say was, you know, going back to Gorgeous George, I assume, you know, he inspired basically every flamboyant heel past him. You know, Buddy Rogers, and I'm going to say it's very different as far as look, but still kind of similar with Graham. Because he's got the flamboyant look, the very, hey, look at me, I'm big and colorful and everything, and I got the bleach blonde hair. Oh, now here's Bruno choking him with his own bare hands. And the referee's, hey, you can't. Oh, no, he's got tape. He's got Graham's tape now. But the referee saw that because, you know, babyfaces cheat right in front of the ref so they can admonish them. Graham is on his knees, begging off. Please no. And Bruno says, too bad. No timeouts. Kicks him right in the gut. Irish whip into the corner. And, oh, my gosh, that looked like it hurt. Back body drop. Graham landed awkwardly, and then he repeatedly humps the mat. That was a little... Oh, man. And, so Bruno's back on the offensive, and he's just beating away on him here. Graham's tied up in the ropes here like he's trying to escape. And Bruno says, beating away at him. The interviews, I mean, you look back, Buddy Rogers did some pretty spectacular heel interviews back in the day, but Superstar really set it up for what would become the stereotypical big 80s typical wrestler interview that you always saw. I mean, very out there, colorful, flamboyant. Not just in his appearance, but the way he talked, his mannerisms, everything. The very, look at me, look at my massive arms, I'm the best, baby, and, you know, calling everybody brother. He was the first to really, you know, everybody was brother. So you got to think that's where Hulk Hogan gets that from. I mean, it was clear that Billy Graham was a huge inspiration for Hulk Hogan. And there is his patented bear hug from Superstar. Bruno came out of the corner right into it. He's squeezing the life out of Bruno Sammartino. Both these men, by the way, are WWE Hall of Famers at this point.
As Sammartino goes down on one knee.
And Graham has said some things in the past, I mean, I try not to point to it's like, well, we can't look fondly at this guy's wrestling career because of stupid things he has said, because, let's face it, in recent years, I'd say in the past 20 years, so, that is a while of repeated behavior, Billy Graham has said some really stupid things. I'm pretty sure he's the one that when they inducted Abdullah the Butcher into the WWE Hall of Fame, he said, yeah, I kind of want to turn my Hall of Fame ring back in. What the hell is he doing in there? To which I might agree. Abdullah was a draw. He was a big name back in the territory days for sure, but I don't think he did a lot of work, if any work, in the WWE ever. That wasn't really their style. Bruno pounding away here at the face of, or the side of the head here of superstar Billy Graham, trying to break that bear hug. Can he get out of it? Oh, man.
Knocking Sammartino up into the corner. Now he has him once again in that bear hug.
Yeah, so this... If you're looking for a big, exciting, holy crap, there's a lot of spots, there's a lot of stuff happening. Obviously in classic wrestling, you're not going to get a lot of that anyway. But this especially is,
Superstar shouting something.
You got big bear hugs from both these guys at various times. Different submission holds, submissions, fighting and powering through submissions, especially with two big body guys like this, was a big thing. Two big bowls, really trying to posture and show dominance.
Sammartino, I believe, is one.
I don't know, by the way, who wins this match. He used the tights to pull him back into the corner, slams him into the corner, and Billy Graham is repeatedly ramming Bruno, but Bruno kind of sunk down there, so he slammed his... Billy Graham slammed his own face into the top turnbuckle, knocked himself out. That broke the hold.
Their heads put it together.
Bruno finally gets out of that big bear hug from Superstar, brother. But now he's punching Bruno again. Off the ropes, coming back, and a bear hug from Bruno. He catches him. Bear hug in the middle of the ring, an elevated bear hug. He's got him up in the air. Billy says, no. Graham's shaking his head. Yes, no, yes. The Zodiac. He's putting him down. He's back on his feet. Didn't go for the eye rake. He broke it with an eye rake.
Off the eyes of Sammartino, that holds.
Graham going back to that dirty playbook. Headlock over, crisscrossing now, both men. And Bruno tried to... they met with a double shoulder block. Bruno gets dumped out of the ring. Graham is down in the center of the ring. Again, like I said, I don't know who wins this one. I have not watched ahead. So, yeah, I don't know. He counted him out. He counted out Bruno Sammartino. That was a very quick count. Graham was up to his feet, so he beat the count. Bruno was not back in the ring quick enough, so Graham wins it. And he says, I want the belt, baby. I want the belt, brother. Bring it home. Bring it in here. That gold, he wants it around his waist. And I don't blame him. And here we go after the match. Oh, man. The babyface, Bruno Sammartino, attacks after the match. Maybe that's where Hulk Hogan got it from. Because Hulk acted kind of heelish at times, if people look back. A lot of eye-raking, back-raking, stuff like that. I love that giant microphone in the center of the ring. Let's hear what they had to say.
Let's go up. Let's get the official word, if we may.
The time, ladies and gentlemen, 16 minutes and 51 seconds. Referee Dick Cole has counted out Bruno Sammartino outside the ring. The winner of this match, Superstar Billy Graham. Crowd outside the ring is 20.
Bruno yelling the count outside the ring is 20, not 10. And he's correct.
We got a 20 count out here on the floor here. 20.
Gorilla Monsoon out here.
That's a 20 count outside the ring, a 10 inside. That's what brings out the one.
There you have it from Gorilla Monsoon.
Gorilla Monsoon still in the twilight of his wrestling career. He is not happy. He's on the side of good and all things good and righteous here. Man. So that is the end of that one. We have wrapped it up. Like I said, the date on the video said October 13th, 1975. That is not the correct date. But we're going to go with that. So, yeah. But that was Superstar Billy Graham versus Bruno Sammartino with controversial ending. Apparently, the outside count was supposed to be 20. The referee, Dick Worrell, only counted to 10. So that's what the controversy was there. So things have changed. It's still a 20 count in Japan, by the way, but not here in America. Not in America! We're going to take another quick break. On the other side, we're going to dive into Superstar Billy Graham taking on the American Dream, if you will.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Main Event Marks is a retro pro wrestling podcast hosted by two lifelong wrestling marks and walking wrestling encyclopedias, Troy and Greg. Every Wednesday, we do a breakdown and review from a fan's perspective on some of wrestling's biggest and most forgotten shows ever, along with the industry news from that time period, taking you back in history to when that event took place. Main Event Marks is available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Follow us on social media at @MainEvent_Marks.
Now, back to our program.
All right, it is time to get back into it here. We are diving into our last match of the podcast. We are covering Superstar Billy Graham versus Dusty Rhodes, Madison Square Garden from October of 1977. October 24th, to be exact. We are starting at all zeros on the playlist, or on the video here. It is 15 minutes, 48 seconds exactly is the runtime here. But we're going to start at all zeros. I'm going to count down from 3 to 2 to 1 and say play, just like in the last video. And when I say play, everybody hits the play button. So let's go.
3, 2, 1, play.
And let's turn the volume up real quick. Hear this ovation for the Dustman. Putting on the hat, he's got the old dusty rhinestone robe, and there's the iconic shot of him strutting around the ring in MSG, and he whips the hat out into the crowd. Good stuff. The champion has not yet made his entrance. This, by the way, is a Texas death match, oddly enough, in New York City. And the title is on the line. So Dusty gets a shot at the WWWF World Heavyweight title. He's got some frizzy hair here. Let's hear this interview with Vince McMahon.
Why, in Madison Square Garden, there are 22-some-odd thousand people here. The Soul Man, Mr. Rhodes.
The man of the hour, the man with the power. I am the hit maker, the record breaker. I got smiling grace and a loveless face. I make your back crack, your liver quiver. If you don't dig this mess, you at the wrong address. And Superstar, while all the rest are in the back, laughing and joking, the Dream's out front. Woo! Cooking and smoking.
Well, there you have it from the Dream.
Well, there you have it from the Dream.
Mr. Dusty Rhodes, unquestionably one of the...
Look at that hair on Vince McMahon. My gosh, this really is 1977. And Dusty, I mean, obviously he's not in phenomenal shape. He never was, but he's quite a bit leaner than he was, even when you think about Starrcade. When Starrcade came around, he had quite a bit more weight on him than this. He's jumping around that ring, he's dancing, he's bobbing, he's weaving, he's gonna blow himself up before before we even get the champ out here.
Muhammad Ali with those moves.
But Superstar Billy Graham actually won the Worldwide Wrestling Federation title back on April 30th of this year, 1977. He's held it since then. And, earlier this month, on the 1st, actually, October 1st, 1977, the tag team titles were won by the team of Mr. Fuji and Professor Tanaka. I'm not exactly sure who Professor Tanaka is, but, whatever. And there is the Superstar, brother.
Upper arms. Ladies and gentlemen,
he's got a black shirt with orange tie-dye in it. He's got an orange bandana with black in it. His sunglasses. He's got a different strap for the world title. It's the same world title we saw in the last match, or the same look world title that Bruno Sammartino had, but it looks like a dark green strap. And he's wearing all orange tights here with red boots, so that doesn't clash at all. And he's got the Grand Wizard there with him, just, with a big red turban and the most outrageous outfit you've ever seen. And that's pretty bad when you can say that standing next to Billy Graham. He's just a little man. He's whipping up the crowd here. Everybody in New York hates him.
He's from Austin.
I don't know where he got those sunglasses, but the Grand Wizard always had those odd, like Star Trek looking sunglasses. Those were some heat getters back in the day. Dusty's backing the Superstar up around the ring. He's just bobbing and weaving here. Constant motion from these two to start off.
Billy Graham.
And you can see the physical clash between these two, just a contrast, because you've got Dusty, obviously he's very white. Well, okay, that is a blue strap world title, not a green strap. So it's the same belt. The inside is red, the outside is blue. The one Bruno had, I believe, was just dark red, like all the way around.
Now to clarify things a bit, Texas.
But it's the same look as far as the gold on it. But either way, getting back, Dusty's actually got kind of a tan here, so he usually kept up with a tan. He wasn't usually super pale, but he's got the curly, fuzzy, bleach blonde hair, and he's obviously kind of doughy, as he always was. Oh, and he's jump starting the match here. That was it. For those that aren't watching, Superstar bent over so that, and he, as Gorilla Monsoon would say, he Pearl Harbored him. Not sure we can say that in 2021, but that's what Gorilla would say. But Superstar bent over for the Grand Wizard to take his shirt off for him, and as he's doing that, Dusty comes up and kicks Superstar right in the chest. He's going for the elbows. And it's too dangerous out here, so he sends the Grand Wizard to the back. You don't want to be around for a Texas death match. After the physical characteristics I gave of Dusty, the frizzy, curly blonde hair, doughy, not physically impressive to say, say the least, and he's got the southern drawl to him. And you got Superstar Billy Graham. He's a northerner, straight blonde hair, looking just so. He's big, jacked, and tanned, and toned. So it's a striking difference right there, and it's like northern, wrestling in the smoke-filled rooms versus southern wrestling. And nobody outside of the Funks really exemplified that more than Dusty Rhodes, I'd say.
Graham certainly taking his time in entering the ring.
Now Billy Graham taking a powder. He's sitting outside the ring. He's like, oh, man. Just trying to take a breather. They've only been going for like 3-4 minutes here. And there's the bionic elbow. Billy Graham was a great bump taker. I'll say that. Not a lot of people talk about the bumps that he took. And it wasn't like, big high spots or whatever. But, man, he flip-flopped and flied around for those baby faces that could really make him do so. I mean, he did for Bruno here and there in the last match. He's doing it for Dusty here. No, just delay. Oh, he waves him off. Nope, going to the back. He's done. He's done with it. He's going to the back. Nope, he's thinking better about it. It is weird, I'll say, to see a Texas death match, not only in New York, in the WWWF, but one that goes shy of 16 minutes. And with the interviews in the beginning, it goes about 10 minutes, 11 minutes, somewhere in there. Here we go. They're going back at it. Dusty's bobbing and weaving here.
Graham in there clinching. Dusty Rhodes now.
Oh, man. The opening show for this, or the opening match for the show, by the way, was Larry Zbyszko versus Johnny Rhodes. Larry Zbyszko, I'm sure anybody who grew up in the 90s remembers him. And, we're outside the ring here. Oh, no, Dusty throws him back in. Looked like he was going to go for a bulldog on the concrete, but Dusty threw him back into the ring. And now he's kneeing him, he's punching him, he's winding up in an elbow. Flip-flop and fly. Somebody threw garbage. It's always fun. Johnny Rhodes, by the way, was a trainer of, I want to say both Dudley Boys. He at least trained Devon. I'll say that. And looking, kind of going through these matches on this card, just looking at these old matches here, I know, most of these, I know about half of the competitors in these matches. The other half, I assume, were like, just local talent that they pulled in.
Concern on the face of Dusty Rhodes.
After this, by the way, this was not the main event of the card. Ooh, just punch right to the gut by Superstar, taking him down. He did a lot of punches to the gut, I noticed.
Down into the rib area of Dusty Rhodes.
But this was not the main event. After this, we got a 2 out of 3 falls match for the tag team titles. Fuji and Toru Tanaka, with Freddie Blassie, by the way. They defended against Chief J Strongbow and Peter Maivia.
Right into the middle section.
So, yeah, if you don't know, that's The Rock's grandfather on his mother's side, by the way. And the main event, Ivan Putski versus Stan Stasiak. Yes, Ivan Putski, Stan Stasiak. The father of Sean Stasiak, by the way. Meet! Oh, here we go. He's finally going under the ring. Superstar Billy Graham going under the ring. The heel's going for the weapon first. He's got a bull rope? Looks like he's got a bull rope there, or some kind of cable. It's a rope of some sort. Oh my gosh, he's just tying that all around Dusty's head. Dusty's busted open. I believe he was sent headfirst into the corner post earlier, and Graham is biting his head, taking every heel advantage, every little thing he can do here. By the way, I forgot to point out the referee's actually wearing a straight shirt in this match, so there's a nice change. He's tying up Dusty, like around the waist. Oh, he's got that rope around Dusty's waist, and he's bear hugging him with the bull rope. Dusty's bleeding a little bit, because, Dusty must bleed. He's trying to fight out of it. He's measuring with the elbow, and yes, he got it. Oh, but he won't break it. There's another one. Another elbow. Finally broke it. Dusty's got the rope now. You don't want the Texan to control the bull rope here. And he's got it around Graham's neck on the apron, which is the hardest part of the ring, by the way. Got to point that out. He's literally... Oh, he's tying it around his neck. He hung him over the top rope. He's holding him. He is choking out the champion over the top rope. Graham is screaming. He's choking. Dusty finally let him go. Graham just kind of flops there next to Vince McMahon's table. And then, and Dusty slams him headfirst on it. And there goes everything. His drinks, his monitor, Oh, everything is gone now. It's on the floor.
Side rather in the ring.
Dusty is bleeding more.
And it's Superstar.
Man, this is an interesting one. I'll say, to say the least. It's been action packed in the first, 6 minutes. I want to say. Dusty's hammering away at his forehead. I assume trying to bust him open.
Action on the outside.
This is certainly more entertaining than the last match. I will give it that. And Dusty's elbowing him again. He takes a good bump for those elbows.
Rhodes now in possession.
And, Graham. Looks like Graham's busted open. There's a fist drop, I think. Camera was a little out of position. And, he's kissing looked like he kissed his bloody fist and then spit the blood in the air. That's Dusty I'm talking about here. Snapmare. Graham, and there's a big old theatrical fist drop. And Dusty knew how to whip him up, man. Didn't matter north, south, east, west. And there's a splash. 1, 2, but Graham is in the ropes. I don't know. I mean, Stevie Wonder could have seen that, so I don't know why the ref was counting. That's, man. Oh. Graham has been busted up. He is wearing the crimson mask. Oh, my. He's punching away at Dusty. Dusty's got the elbow right in the forehead. And, he's pinning him. 1, 2, feet on the ropes. The referee again. Stevie Wonder could have seen that. And Dusty's like, I win, Daddy. And he's like, no, feet on the ropes.
Victorious.
He's like, what do you mean, feet on the ropes, Daddy? Come on, baby. I had him pinned. I was laying on top of him. I know it. I saw it. You saw it. Everybody saw it. And there's Graham taking the advantage as Dusty decided to argue with the referee. There's a double down. This is not, it looks like this is not a Texas death match, like the actual definition of a Texas death match. Let's see, 1, 2, Graham gets the cover. All he did was shoulder block him, but there's Dusty rolling on top of him and dropping the elbow. Maybe it is a Texas death match. Dusty's up and elbow again. Dropping the elbows on Graham after Graham got the 3 count on him. And now he's making the cover, but he's like, hey, that's not how it works, Dusty. I really don't know how they're doing this one. Like, do they have to... I think they have a down period between falls. But Dusty's like, hell no, Daddy. I'm just gonna beat his ass. Or maybe that was the end of the match. Let's hear the official call.
Look at Graham.
Graham wins it.
Poke of a man. Graham on his way back to the dressing room, and apparently the victory will stand.
So that was it. That was it. Okay, so that is not a Texas death match.
We may from our ring announcer.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time, 10 minutes, 12 seconds. The winner with a pinfall and still the worldwide Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion superstar, Billy Graham.
Graham victorious in certainly a controversial manner. We shall return in a moment.
My. Yeah, so that was the end of that one. That was not a Texas death match. It wasn't. A Texas death match is you get a fall, whether, through pinfall or submission or whatever, and you have to, the person has to, it then basically turns into a last man standing, where they have to get to their feet before the end of the 10 count, and then after that, it just goes until somebody doesn't beat the 10 count after a fall. So I don't know what the hell that was. It was entertaining. I'm not saying that it wasn't. That's for sure. I enjoyed it. But yeah, so I don't know. That's out there for all of you guys. I did want to spout out a few more facts about Superstar Billy Graham, just real quick, since we're wrapping this up. And this episode is about Billy Graham. He is a 3-time World Wrestling Champion. So, that's something right there. And his Wikipedia page says he had, kind of inspired Ric Flair. I think he inspired maybe early days of Ric Flair, because if you look back at, like, when Ric was really young and he hadn't quite become the Nature Boy yet, he was wearing, like, tie-dye and stuff like that. So, okay, maybe, but obviously he took most of his shtick from Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. Now, his real name, just to talk to you about this, his real name is Eldridge Wayne Coleman. So, not exactly a name you hear and you're like, man, Eldridge Coleman, that's a world champion. But he was encouraged by professional wrestler Bob Lewick, I think, to train with Stu Hart for the Stampede Wrestling promotion. He actually trained under Hart in Calgary before debuting on January 16th, 1970 in a match against Don Croffett. So I don't know who Dan Croffett is. But, Stu Hart and the infamous Hart Dungeon. I wouldn't have thought Superstar Billy Graham when I think of that. For his name, he traveled back to the United States in May of 1970, wrestling for a few months with Dr. Jerry Graham, who, for those that don't know, was Vince McMahon's favorite wrestler. You've always, if anybody's heard legends of Vince McMahon loved Dr. Jerry Graham. He tried to be like him. He bleached his hair blonde one time and pissed off his own father because of that, who did not want Vince in the wrestling business. But anyway, he wrestled with Dr. Jerry Graham, Dick Barrow, Rick Cahill, and Ron Pritchard. This Pritchard does have a T in it, by the way, not unlike Bruce and Tom Pritchard, who spell it Prichard, no T. But anyway, he did that in Arizona before he and Jerry Graham joined the National Wrestling Alliance's Los Angeles promotion, run by Mike LaBelle, as a tag team that following August. He changed his ring name, to Billy Graham, as a tribute to the famous evangelist by the same name. Yeah, Billy Graham, Reverend Billy Graham, was doing stuff. I mean, you can see videos of his back in like the 50s. He was selling out arenas. So he did take the name from the evangelist Billy Graham. So if you hear that name for two different people, that's why. But later, when wrestling in Championship Wrestling from Florida, the name would serve both as his ring name and to make him the kayfabe youngest brother of Jerry and other Graham brothers, Eddie and Luke. So there you go. That is the kayfabe Graham wrestling family. It was actually pretty famous back in the territory days. A lot of people don't associate Billy with the other ones because Billy was such a big star by himself. Superstar Graham was just kind of an entity unto his own. And he came so far after the height of, like, say, a Dr. Jerry Graham, and the other ones were moderate successes. So, it came after all that, their big heights. And he, like I said, he was such a big hit all on his own that people don't really put them together. But, they were a kayfabe wrestling family, so that's why he took on the last name Graham and then went with Billy. So, either way, that is that for Superstar Billy Graham. I really hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I had fun watching it and talking about it and all that. Next week, we're going to dive into one of my favorite classic wrestlers of all time. We're going to get retro with a man who was the first WWWF World's Heavyweight Champion. We're going to talk about how and what, when, where, and why. All of that next week. We're going to get into the Nature Boy, the original Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers. So stay tuned for all of that. The matches we are going to be watching with him next week are his World Heavyweight Championship match against Pat O'Connor, the NWA World Title match, and his match against Lou Thesz, the historic, amazing Hall of Famer Lou Thesz, Both of these matches, by the way, were from Chicago. The Chicago International Amphitheater for the Fez match, and Comiskey Park in Chicago for the O'Connor match. So stay tuned for that. I hope you guys pick us back up next week, and we'll see you then. Stay retro.